Welcome back to the channel. In today's video I thought we'd discuss the main characteristics and ideas both tonally and morally that make up the fictional character that is Superman. A lot of people say recently Superman has lost his true self within the media because obviously we have Warner Brothers with DCEU, the Man of Steel take, and the game world such as Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, where obviously Superman has been brainwashed and he is evil, as well as the Injustice game, which again is a little bit of brainwashing from the Joker, but more so he is just villainous, and a lot of people don't like that, which is absolutely fine. But there's also been other companies with Kryptonian-like counterparts which have done similar things, such as Homelander from The Boys, Omni-Man in Invincible, and of course the film Brightburn. I would also say we've had a lot of true to character representation in true Superman projects, such as My Adventures with Superman, which yes does change the world around him and some of the characters he interacts with, but at the core that Superman is pretty fucking accurate. And then we have Superman and Lois, which is by far one of my favourite interpretations of a live-action Superman. I think Tyler Hoechlin does an amazing job, and I'm really sad to see that this is the last season. But the first two episodes of that season have been amazing so far, so I can't wait to see how it plays out. But obviously that is not what this video is about. And just before we move on to more about this video, there is one other interpretation of Superman that I feel like you must mention when talking about him, and that of course is the comics. That is obviously where he started, and he's still there today, and I feel like a lot of people look past the comics because they're just into the films, games, TV shows, cartoons, whatever. But if you really are looking for a true adaptation of Superman, don't look at an adaptation, look at the comics, because that is the best way you're going to see it. But yes, as I said, I wanted to break down a couple of ideas as to why Superman is Superman. And I know there's a load of ideals that make him who he is, but I just wanted to go through a few that I think are key attributes, for myself at least. Number one, maybe an obvious one, but is a key part of Superman and who he is, and that of course is his soul. Now Martha and Jonathan Kent helped mold this man and become a great hero. Not by training him and helping him hone his powers or forcing him to be or act a certain way, but by giving Clark the tools to make the correct decisions and teaching him that kindness and compassion does not need a reward and is a reward within itself. And Clark is living proof of this. The Kents watched a meteorite hit the ground in front of them, which they would later on find out to be a space pod holding an alien baby. And of course, when they found out that baby had superpowers, they did not try to benefit from that. No, they continued to treat him as a normal kid, and that is truly the upbringing that helped Superman become Superman. And that is the key element of this all. I truly think that. Without Ma and Pa Kent, I don't know if Clark would be Clark. Number two, and I think all of these points kind of sway in and out of each other, I think that is... You might be thinking that's not really a word, but I think when it comes to Superman, it's absolutely perfect and it's the best way to put his personality into words. Now take Batman and Bruce Wayne for example. They are two different sides of the same coin. However, Bruce Wayne's public image is not who Batman truly is, not even at his core. He is a good man, and Bruce Wayne isn't a bad person, but he sets across this precedent that he doesn't really care about anybody but himself. Not in a selfish way, just more in a I'm rich and I'm living my life and I'm just having fun. No one's really going to think that that man is putting on a bat suit at night, running around to help people. Because why would he? But with Superman and Clark, they are one in the same, both inside and outside. Yes, he might dress it up a bit, the bumbling farm boy persona, but even in the blue spandex, that is who Superman is. A small town farm boy with a big load of heart. And for number three, we have... Superman should always, always, always be selfless. And yes, that can be problematic to the character, to his life, his job, and sometimes his family. But the honest truth is they will always understand that. Not only because it is always the right thing for him to do, but because that is who Clark is as a person, and there is no one that has the power to change that about him. A great example of this is Tom King's 6-issue limited series, Superman Up in the Sky. Now I'm going to leave a spoiler warning here, just in case this is something you were looking at reading and you didn't want to hear anything about it. I'm not going to go too much detail into this because that's not what this video is about, but obviously I do need to somewhat explain it. Superman Up in the Sky is a story about Superman deciding to go on a journey across space trying to save one Earth child. And that is because if Superman has the ability to do something and he knows it, he's going to do it. And it's simple as that. He does choose to leave his family, Metropolis, and the Earth unprotected, but he knows that the Justice League, Teen Titans, Batman, Wonder Woman will always be there to help. But above that all, as I said, he knows that someone's in danger, and that's all that matters in this moment in time. Now, besides upbringing, this might be one of the biggest ones, mainly because it is mentioned countless times in comics, cartoons, TV, and films, and that is Superman's humanity. In a lot of aspects, Superman's humanity is his greatest power, and oftentimes other members of the League will say that he is the most human out of them all, which is crazy, but it is extremely true. With all his powers and ability, there is still one ability that Clark will always choose to use first before rushing in with violence and action, and that of course is talking. If Clark sees a person clearly about to jump off the top of a building, he doesn't rush in to save them, to get a job well done, sort of pat on the back. No, Superman will talk to that person and try to get to the bottom of their feelings on why they feel like this and try to help them from within. Superman will always look for the best in people, but above that all, Superman understands a person in need, and Superman understands that even a good person can have a bad day. Now, I've got to be completely honest, Superman was not even nearly one of my favourite characters a couple of years ago. If you'd asked me 2 years ago to name a Superman comic book, I probably wouldn't have been able to. I obviously read some. He just wasn't for me. I was the classic, oh, he's the Boy Scout, he's boring. I just don't, he's not my cup of tea. However, over the last couple of years, and I don't know if that's maturing or if I'm just really growing to the character, but he is truly rise to the ranks, and he is probably in my top 5 favourite characters ever. He might even be my number 1 recently. Nightwing is always going to have a special place in my heart, but Superman is slowly getting there. And I've read so many Superman comics recently because I just love the feeling that you get when reading them. There is just a great level of wholesomeness that you get after reading a Superman comic. Even the ones that aren't really anything to do with the main continuity. And a great example of this would be Superman Secret Identity. Again, I'm not going to go too much into this, but this is based on a kid named Clark Kent in the real world, whose parents named him that because they thought it'd be a bit of a joke. Not in like a ha-ha way, just as in like, oh, it's kind of cool. Obviously, he doesn't enjoy it. And he lives in the real world, so he gets bullied about it quite often. And then one day he does just wake up with Superman's powers. And this story is a 4-issue story. They're quite big chapters for comic books, but it is really good. And even this character of Clark Kent that isn't the usual Clark Kent that you're used to, while taking the powers and being raised in Kansas, learns to become just like Superman from the comics. And it is so touching. Definitely think it's worth you checking out. Maybe down in the comments, tell me what you think makes up Superman, makes him the man he is, or what issues turned Superman round as a character for you. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.